Wow, I never thought I'd be back here. Seriously, after that initial video, I uninstalled the game. Not out of resentment, I was just Far Cry'd out. But like an old flame coming back to town, I just couldn't stay away. And thought I'd finally give Far Cry 5's DLC content a proper go. And I was genuinely surprised by the quality of what was on offer. For reference, I had already played through one of the 3 expansions previously, and in complete truth, had been thoroughly bored by it. And that was... In theory, this should have been one of the most gripping stories told. Crash landed in enemy territory, having to scavenge for weapons and fight off an overwhelming force, all the while trying to save your best buddies. I'm a sucker for stripping the player of comfort utilities and forcing them to scavenge and fight for survival. Take Dead Money in Fallout New Vegas, which I think is a masterclass in that strategy. Hours of Darkness does start like that, and stays like it for a grand total of 10 minutes. This is probably the one I was most disappointed by. And I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. In a trend that will become shockingly apparent, this expansion could have done with some more content. The best way to describe it is, it's the main game with no main quests, only outposts, hostage rescue, VIP, and icon destruction. It does everything the main game does, just kind of worse. The core experience is effectively a less compelling main game, and it isn't really fun. Here's an example. There is an overwhelming amount of enemies with no new types. Every enemy is literally a reskin speaking Vietnamese. Why? There were so many points where they could have done something interesting, but didn't. I love games set in Vietnam, but Hours of Darkness just does nothing with it. They literally time you to see how fast you can complete it, probably because they know you'll want to do it as quickly as possible. I didn't hate playing through it, but if you're going to, don't bother exploring everything. Just use aggressive stealth and beat the thing in 45 minutes. My favorite parts about this expansion were the F4 Phantoms, the weapon reskins, and the tunnels. Overall, I'd say play it, but for nothing other than getting the bamboo stick. Two out of 5 lighters. Zombies. We all love them. Fun to shoot, not great friends. But what's better than zombies? Zombie movies. But it's actually a game, being told about movies. Confused yet? Because you will be, after playing through... This DLC has some of the most variety when it comes to play spaces and visuals. Framed as 7 different films in which Guy Marvel is trying to pitch to different directors and executives. The framework for this expansion is my favorite. It allows you to go crazy with whatever you want because they're movies. They don't have to adhere to any sense of preconceived lore, physics, reality, or even Burger King licensing laws. I wish the 7 missions we got were longer, and I wish there were more than 7 missions. I don't want to spend too long going in-depth on the intricacies of a fourth wall breaking, borderline Deadpool level messing with reality type of situation, so I'll go quick. The entire core premise of the entire DLC is that you move from movie to movie, unlocking a new challenge mode that allows you to earn unique cosmetics and weapon camos if you beat a time point mode after your first run. Overall, the actual gameplay side of things is great. I never got bored of running and gunning through my short time with this expansion. The only thing this DLC lacks is attachment. It is the most fun. However, there's nothing to get attached to. So I found myself somewhat zoning out near the end, and if it weren't for the narration, I probably would have gone Goopy Goblin Gamer Brain mode and not remembered anything about this at all. However, it is an episodic, silly DLC, so I can't fault it for that. All in all, it's fun, and certainly has its moments. If you like arcade, then you'll really love this expansion. After thinking it over, 3.5 out of 5 Juggernauts. Space. The infinite void. The unknown cosmos. The final frontier. When I say this, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it Robot Herc? It wasn't? Well, too bad, because that's all you're getting in. This is the expansion for Far Cry 5. It clearly had the most thought put into it. It has a crazy world space. The soundtrack goes hard. Enemies aren't reskin cultists or angels, but goddamn aliens. Along with an entirely new suite of weapons and abilities, and an actual story, this thing has got it all. If that was a lot to take in, then yeah, you're on the same page as me. This DLC is a strange blur between the open world combat-oriented nature of Hours of Darkness with the sheer absurdity of dead living zombies. The best way to describe the foundation of Lost on Mars is that it doesn't deflate the core gameplay loop of the main game. unlike Hours of Darkness. The enemies of Lost on Mars are so well designed. They went full-blown nutty on the alien angle, choosing for an insectoid-style design, burrowing into the red sandy depths of Mars, or flying above you, only to strike when you least expect it. The aliens work really well as an enemy. Because they're not only interesting designed, they're also idealists. They just want to destroy Earth, and your entire goal is to stop that. It's so dramatic that it's simple. I played this one last out of the 3, and didn't feel bored at all. I certainly didn't 100% it, as it didn't really feel like there was any other need to carry on more than I had. But the expansion does give you a large play space to explore and experiment in. It gives you the same core experience as the main game, but through tweaks to gravity, traversal, and enemy types, it shakes up that core experience enough to leave you with a product that you're both familiar with, while allowing you to experiment and play around with new features. I think one of the greatest parts of this expansion is just its visual design, art style, and music that legitimately rivals the main game in quality. I mean, just look at this. Take a second to appreciate it. It is utterly beautiful, and I found myself constantly stopping and just staring. I didn't do this in either of the other DLCs. I did this in the main game, and it's genuinely beautiful. Overall, this DLC left me wanting more, but never feeling unsatisfied. All in all, I give it a grand total of 4.5 Brobot Buddy Hercs. And there you have it, all 3 DLCs. I'd say I'd rate Far Cry 5's expansion experience about a 5 out of 10, mainly because it's a 50-50 as to whether you'll like it or not. If you've got money lying around, and when the season pass goes on sale, give it a go. It's worth a shot. If not that, then, I don't know, maybe you could
buy Lockheed Martin stocks, buy Lockheed Martin stocks, buy Lockheed Martin stocks.